I think in the previous class we studied about the mean free path. What is mean free path? Tell me the definition. It is the average distance traveled by a molecule in between two successive collisions. In between two successive collisions. See, whenever you consider a molecule, okay, it undergoes so many collisions. Here we are observing the distances in between any two collisions. Okay, then what we are doing, we are adding all those free motions of the molecule. Then we are dividing with the number of such free motions, such segments of path. Okay, then that is going to give you class. What is that mean free path? It is the mean free path. This is already over. What is this? This is the average distance traveled by a molecule in between two successive collisions. We denote this with lambda. All of you know that. What is this? Mean free path. What is mean free path? It is the average distance traveled by a molecule in between two successive collisions. Okay, right. This is about the mean free path. We are already derived the expression for the mean free path. Okay, what is that? Lambda is equal to 1 by pi d square n. Okay, here what is d? D is the diameter of the molecule. Okay, n is the number of molecules per unit volume. Number of molecules per unit volume. Okay, d is the diameter of any one molecule. N is the number of molecules per unit volume. Okay, if n is large, what happens? This mean free path decreases. Why? Because more frequently an atom may collide with other atoms. So whenever you increase this n, this lambda decreases. Why? Because inverse relation is there. Okay, similarly here, whenever you increase the size of the molecule diameter, then what happens? This mean free path, that means distance, the free distance traveled in between two collisions also decreases. That means mean free path decreases. Okay, whenever you whenever you increase the size of the atoms. Okay, that means you cannot increase. Actually, whenever you go from one gas to other gas, what happens? Automatically the diameter of the molecules changes. So whenever you shift from one gas to other gas, mean free path also changes. It is a characteristic property of one particular gas. Okay, yeah, this is what the expression for the mean free path. Okay, as this size increases, this mean free path length decreases. Okay, right. Now let us directly go to the transport phenomena, which we wanted to do now. Okay, this concept is useful in discussing the transport phenomena. This transport phenomena itself gives the gases some properties. Okay, transport phenomena. Okay. Here, due to the transport of few things, as I already told, momentum, energy, okay, and mass, that means molecules, gases exhibit three different types of properties. Viscosity, it is a result of momentum exchange, moment or transport. Okay, it is a result of momentum transport. Okay, if you take the kinetic energy transport or energy transport, then that is going to result in the property of conduction of the gas. Next, gases exhibit the conduction property. This is the result of energy exchange. Energy means kinetic energy. Energy exchange or energy transport. Okay, similarly, we have third property exhibited by the gases, diffusion. Diffusion results from the mass transport. All of you know that. Mass exchange. Mass exchange or the mass transport. See, due to the momentum transport in a gas, gas exhibits viscosity. Similarly, due to the energy transport inside the gas, gas exhibits conduction property. Due to the mass transport, okay, one part of the gas to other part of the gas, that means shifting of the molecules will cause diffusion. Okay, whenever you make a hole for a balloon filled with air, then what happens? Air comes outside. That is called as a diffusion. So mass shifting, mass transport is taking place from balloon to outside. Okay, so there we are referring to the property of diffusion. Yeah, right. Yeah, now we try to apply the kinetic theory or kinetic theory of gases to these exchange processes, and let us derive the equations for these properties. Okay, first of all, let us consider in detail about this property, viscosity of gases. Okay, first of all, let us study the viscosity of gases. Viscosity, all of you know about this viscosity right from your lower classes itself. See here, viscosity is something related to the velocity gradient. All of you know that. It means whenever you consider a fluid, okay, whenever you consider any fluid, you consider fluids, different types of fluids. Some fluids flow very fastly, some fluids flow very slowly. What is the reason for that? What is the reason for this? There is a change in the viscosities of those fluids. Okay, it is something like friction between the different layers of the fluid. Okay, actually this happens because of the momentum transport between the different layers of the fluid. Gas is a fluid. Okay, if you take the water, that is also a fluid, but we are taking here gases, particularly the gases. We are dealing with the gases. Okay, now let us consider three such layers, okay, in a gas. Okay, in order to find the coefficient of viscosity. Okay, what we are going to do here, which constant describes the viscosity? Coefficient of viscosity. So we are going to derive the expression for the coefficient of viscosity of a gas by using the kinetic theory of gases. Eta, we denote this with eta. Eta is not viscosity, it is a coefficient of viscosity which describes the viscosity property of a gas. that you have to note. You can't simply write inside the brackets here eta. Eta is not viscosity, but eta is a coefficient of viscosity which describes the property of a viscosity of any gas. Okay. Now let us consider three layers of a gas. Particularly we are focusing on this layer, AB layer. Okay, let us denote this upper level with CD layer. Let us denote this lower layer with EF. Okay, of course you draw them at equal distances from this AB surface. Yeah, there are so many such layers in the gas, but we are focusing on only three layers. Suppose that here this is what in this layer you can place some row of gas molecules. On the other layer you may place some other row of gas molecules, and in that case what will be the difference between this layer and this layer? It is equal to the mean free path. Here also these two layers also separated with the distance of mean free path. Okay, see here we are considering the gas molecules located very near to each other, shortest possible distance. Here lambda is the shortest possible distance between the gas molecules in one layer and the other layer. Okay, they cannot come closer than lambda. Okay, because they hit each other. Molecules in CD layer will hit the molecules in AB layer. That's why this is the I am keeping all these layers in the close manner. Okay, we cannot put these layers more close than this thing. Okay, this is the minimum distance between any two layers. What is that? Lambda. Okay, we are placing them very close to each other. Okay, you cannot put more close than this situation, right? They are very close to each other. We are placing them as close as possible. What is the distance? Then those layers must be separated with the distance called free mean path. Okay, this you note down. Again, let us assume that this middle layer is traveling with velocity u. That means molecules in the middle layer are moving with velocity u. Okay, here let us assume that say this is x direction, this is y direction. Okay, in y direction let us assume that the velocities are increasing. Okay, in y direction, that means velocity of molecules in EF layer is lower than that of the velocity of molecules in the AB layer. Similarly, velocity of molecules in the CD layer is greater than the velocity of the molecules in the AB layer. Why? Because CD layer is located above the AB layer. That's why its molecules are having high velocity. Since the EF layer is located below the AB layer, so molecules of this layer are having a lower velocity, small velocities compared to the molecules in the AB layer. Okay, right. Now let us assume that velocities are increasing or decreasing with y, that means in the vertical direction. Okay, we already discussed that about this point. See, whenever you move from origin to upwards along the y direction, u values are increasing. Okay, velocity values are increasing. Okay, so now the rate of increase or decrease of velocity is here du by dy. We call this as the velocity gradient. Velocity gradient, right? So this velocity of molecules in this bottom layer then becomes u minus lambda du by dy. You see, dy, dimensions of dy is, okay, the dy is the length, lambda is the length, both are having the same dimensional formula or the same units. That's why whenever you cancel this lambda and dy, again you are going to get velocity only du. So this is simply u minus du. Okay, why? Because the molecules in EF layer are having lower velocities. Similarly, you write the expression for the velocity of molecules in the CD layer. Here this is u minus or plus, here upper layer will be having higher velocity. So we are writing here plus du by dy. Let us assume that, okay, this is the velocity of the molecules in the EF layer, this is the velocity of molecules in the CD layer, and we know that velocity of molecules in the AB layer is u, right? Now let us see here. Here let us try to define the coefficient of viscosity. Okay, here these two layers, upper layer and lower layer, that means CD and EF layers, okay, are exerting some force on the AB layer. Okay, see this upper layer, which is having high velocity, okay, is exerting some force on the AB layer. See, actually all these molecules are moving along x direction. CD layer is molecules in the CD layer are moving with high velocities. That's why they give some momentum to the molecules of AB layer in the forward direction. Okay, right? Similarly, the other layer, okay, which is below the AB, is also exert some force on the AB layer. Okay, AB layer. Here, this layer, molecules of this layer, okay, are having lower velocities. So this layer, or the molecules in this layer, see, transfer some momentum in the backward direction. Since the upper layer is giving momentum in the forward direction to the AB layer due to its high velocity, lower level generally exert some force on AB layer so that the momentum is backward. See here, some forces are acting on the AB layer. One force is in the forward direction, other force in the backward direction due to the layers. CD layer is imparting momentum in the forward direction. Lower layer is imparting some momentum to the AB layer in the backward direction due to its low velocity. So here these forces acting in opposite direction are hindering the motion of the intermediate level AB layer. In this way, see, the frictional forces, okay, prohibit the free motion of the gas. Okay, this tendency is called as a viscosity. That means there are some forces acting between the different layers of the gas. Okay, why? Because different layers are traveling with the different velocities. This is what the reason for the slow movement of the gases. Okay, we call this as a viscosity property of the gas. Okay, here this is defined by, see, force is equal to, eta velocity gradient, eta into, that means this force, how much force here, you see, otherwise, how much force is acting on the intermediate layer due to this velocity gradient. That depends upon the magnitude of the velocity gradient. Here, what is the difference between the velocities of molecules in CD layer and EF layer? If this difference, okay, here we should write this as y. Why? Because velocity is changing in y direction, right? See, if this change is large, there is a large velocity difference between the molecules of CD layer and EF layer, that is going to cause large force on the intermediate layer. Okay, so F is proportional to force acting in AB layer is proportional to the du by dy. Whenever you remove this proportionality sign here, okay, then you are going to write some proportionality constant which is called as the coefficient of viscosity. Now I am removing this proportionality sign, so I am introducing one proportional constant eta into du by dy. You may ask me one question, sir, here we are having a large surface. Here this force means where it is acting on that surface. This force is acting on the unit area of that surface. Okay. So how to define eta now? Our question is eta is equal to how much now? F by du by F by this F by this du by dy. Okay, this is what the formal definition of the coefficient of viscosity, force per velocity gradient, force per. Now let us try to give some formal definition for this, for the coefficient of viscosity, okay, which you are already familiar. Okay, you are already familiar with this definition. You gave this definition in the lower classes itself. Now we are going to define this coefficient based on this equation. How to define this? It is a tangential force. Why it is a tangential force? This force is not pulling the AB layer upwards or downwards. It is pushing this layer in the forward direction or backward direction. For that only the tangential force is necessary. So here our F is a tangential force. I am defining this coefficient of viscosity as a tangential force. It is a means coefficient of viscosity. It is a tangential force, okay, per how much area? Per unit area. This is about F. Per divided by means per unit velocity gradient. Okay. Whenever this eta becomes F, whenever you make this du by dy 1. What is the meaning of that? Unit velocity gradient. Per unit velocity gradient. So what is the eta? What is this eta? Okay, eta, it means eta here. It is a tangential force per unit area, okay, per unit velocity gradients. So what is the definition of eta? It is a tangential force, okay, per unit area per unit velocity gradient, per unit velocity gradient. Okay, you remember this. Okay, already once you studied this in your lower classes, at least now you try to remember this. is the tangential force per unit velocity gradient. Very simple. Now let us try to derive the expression for eta from kinetic theory. Okay, this is a formal definition. We want to express this eta in terms of the properties of the given gas. Okay, right. Now we are going to get the formula for eta from the kinetic theory of gases. Okay, here next what we are doing, derivation of expression for eta, that means coefficient of viscosity, right. Yeah, okay, let us try to finish this derivation now. Okay, here let us again consider the forces acting on the upper layer and the lower layer. Okay, here we are taking one velocity called average velocity. Okay, what is that? C bar. Okay, here let us consider n number of molecules per unit volume. Let there are n number of n molecules in unit volume of a gas, okay, this is the number density. We are considering a gas in which there are n molecules in 1 unit of volume. And next, yeah, what is their collective velocity? C bar. C bar is let C bar be the average velocity. Okay, let C bar be the average velocity of the molecule. Be the average velocity of gas molecules. Okay, we are denoting the number of molecules per unit volume is n, and the average velocity as C bar. Okay, now our gas molecules are moving randomly. Okay, now we are considering 3 planes out of the gas. All these planes or layers are separated with the distance called mean free path lambda. Okay, see here, one thing we have to remember, all the molecules, okay, which are coming to the layer AB, okay, what happens? They collide with the molecules inside the layer AB. Okay, then transfer of the momentum takes place. In every collision, momentum transfer takes place. Okay, here one thing we have to consider, one more important thing. See, from the entire gas molecules, 1/3 of the molecules are moving in each of the 3 directions. Okay, parallel to the 3 coordinate axes. See, since there are 3 axes, we are assuming that out of all the available gas molecules, 1/3 of them are moving along x-axis, 1/3 of them are moving along y-axis, 1/3 of them are moving z-axis. That means we are dividing them into 3 groups. We are sending one groups along x-axis, one group along y-axis, one group along z-axis. Yes, it is our assumption. Why? Because there are 3 roads, 3 directions. The molecules have the freedom to move along any axis. That's why we are assuming that 1/3 of gas molecules are moving along x-axis, and remaining out of the remaining 2/3, 1/3 are moving along y-axis, and the remaining 1/3 are moving along z-axis. Okay. Now, then what happens? See, now what happens here is equal number of molecules will be moving up and equal number of molecules moving down. Why? Because we are considering equal number of molecules traveling along all the axes, okay, along the x-axis and y-axis and z-axis. So here, um, along any axis, how many molecules are moving? 1/3 or n by 3. If n is the total number of molecules in a volume, then it becomes n by 3 are moving along x-axis, n by 3 are moving along y-axis, n by 3 are moving along z-axis. Suppose that within that 1 by 3 or n by 3 molecules along any axis, we are assuming that equal number of molecules are moving up and moving down. See, there are three possibilities for the motion along a single axis. See, within that 1 by 3rd molecules or n by 3rd molecules, some molecules may be moving up, some molecules may be moving down. Let us assume that equal number of molecules are moving up and moving up direction and equal number of molecules are moving downward direction. What is that equal number? Half of the n by 3 will be n by 6. Okay. If you add n by 6 plus n by 6, then you are going to get n by 3. Okay, see, you consider any one axis. Say, for example, you take y-axis. See, how many molecules are moving along y-axis? N by 3, 1/3 means. See, in this n by 3, 1 by 2, half of the n by 3 means n by 6 molecules may be moving up. N by 6 molecules may be moving down. Suppose we are considering this to be y-axis. This happens for any axis as well, right? See here, half of this n by 3 molecules are moving upwards, half of these n by 3 molecules are moving downwards. Okay, yeah. Since c bar is the average velocity, then the number of molecules, okay, the number of molecules crossing the unit area per second. Now let us see how many molecules are crossing some unit area. Okay, some unit area attached to this y-axis. Okay, how many molecules are passing from the unit area per unit second, per 1 second, per 1 second. Just crossing it, the molecules may be moving upwards, may be moving upwards from this layer, or may be moving downwards from this layer. Okay, this number is given by n is equal to, first of all let us write down this n, small n c bar by 6. Why? Because n by 6 molecules are either moving up or moving down. So the number of molecules passing through this layer either upwards or downwards per unit area, per unit time, per unit area, per unit time is given by n c bar by 6. N c bar by 6. Okay, here what we have done here, we just multiplied this n by 6 with c bar, n by 6 with c bar. This will give you the number of molecules moving upwards or downwards through the unit area of this surface per unit time. Why? Because this is a velocity. Okay, it is a distance by distance by time. Whenever you take here distance by time, whenever you take time as 1 second, okay, then you get n into, okay, just distance, average distance by 6. Average distance by 6. Here n means number per volume is there. Here distance is there. So you are going to get area here. Whenever you cancel this distance in the velocity and one length in the denominator of this small n, that is volume. So this will give you, whenever you do the dimensional analysis, this nc bar by 6 will give you the number of molecules crossing the unit area per unit time. You check this. Why? Because n is the number per unit volume, and c is the distance by time. Distance by time, or L by time. V is L cube. This V is L cube. Whenever you cancel this L and this one L in L cube, you are going to get here L square. See, whenever you make this one and this one, then you are then you are going to get the number of molecules crossing the unit area per unit time through any given surface. Okay, such dimensional analysis will give you n is equal to nc bar by 6. Okay, nc bar by 6. Okay, yeah, you remember this. This is what the number of molecules either moving up or down through the unit surface area per unit time. Okay, let us stop with this. In the tomorrow's class, let us continue the derivation. Okay, yeah, we will not going to complete this in this short time. Okay, so yeah, I am stopping the lesson for today.